Hey everybody, thanks for joining me in my video on your meal plan and meal prepping. I have struggled with eating the right foods for a while. Even when I started my journey, I basically battled my trainers on what I should be eating and how many times I should eat a day. And I learned throughout this process that food, of course, and it should be an obvious thing, plays a really big role in your weight loss. I always felt like if I eat a burger or eat some cheese fries or eat some bread, that I'm going to work out harder in the gym the next day to make up for it. But then after a while, it's just I'm making up for bad choices and I'm not actually reducing the weight to reach my goal, but more just maintaining the weight that I was. So just recently, maybe not too long ago, I finally gave in and did exactly what I was supposed to do when it came to eating, and I actually surprisingly noticed that my weight went down, and it was a really great feeling. And hopefully that would be a motivating factor for you, is to eat the right food. You'll see the results. Working out is just as important. However, eating plays a huge role in what you're going to see on that scale, or what you're going to feel when you wear those different types of clothing that you've had maybe that didn't fit before. So hopefully this video will give you some insight, give you some ideas, give you a starting point. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a professional. I'm only sharing with you with what I experienced in my journey recently and how I get ready for the day. It's always about prepping your food so that you succeed. I found that if I prep my entire week, all my meals, I have a very slim chance in cheating. I'm not saying that I never cheat, but I really try my best to keep on point with what I'm supposed to eat, and it's a really good feeling at the end of the week to see how much results I have in eating, and that's what's been pushing me even harder to stick to this plan, stick to eating what I'm supposed to eat, and not making bad choices. There are some times that you can go out and eat, you just have to order differently, make some substitutions, and still have a decent meal that you can have. And again, you don't want to look at this as dieting, you want to look at it more as a lifestyle. As my trainers have always said, it's a lifestyle, not a diet. If you look at it as a diet, you're probably not going to succeed. So a few things that I'll cover in this video are the things that you need to prepare. I'll also go over a meal plan that I follow and give you some ideas as to how I come up with what I need to eat for the day, and then you can kind of figure out what you want to have for the day, kind of following the same guidelines. So hopefully you can follow this plan, hopefully it helps you, and I would love to hear if you actually do this meal prep and you follow my meal plan, if you see any results. That would be really awesome to see that it has helped you or made some kind of difference for you. That's what this whole video is about, is sharing my experience with you to get you started, just because everybody wants to have a way to, or they want a way to start, or know how to start, excuse me. So watch the video. I'll have some information in the notes area, so that way you can kind of take something away from this. Alright, the good old meal prep. Now, when I started with meal prepping, I was only prepping for like 2 days. I really didn't have enough Tupperware for the whole week, and I was too lazy to actually cook all my meals, or at least I thought it would take forever. So I recently started cooking for the entire week. So for those of you that have been following me on Instagram and Facebook, you've been seeing those pictures lately, these past few weekends. I typically reserve my Sundays for meal prepping. The first time it took me a few hours to actually go through and cook everything. After the first time, I kind of came up with a routine and really cut down my time, and now it's actually it goes by really quick. So a few things that I have that help me, of course, is a rice cooker. And the rice cooker, I just have like this small one here, very basic. You can find them at Walmart, Target, any of those stores online. The rice cooker really comes in handy, doesn't take up much space. I can just put in my rice and push the button, let it go on its own. I'll talk about rice when we come to our meal plan a little bit later. Other things that I use are a muffin pan. And a muffin pan, a really simple, basic muffin pan, nothing fancy. And I use this for my breakfast, which I'll talk about in my meal plan section of the video as well. I also bought a lot of these containers. They're really cheap. They're you know, recycle or reusable ones. I bought about 20 of them. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough containers, and they're actually a really decent size. I can actually fit my entire meal in this, just because, you know, my meals are going to be measured out, which we'll go more into detail in a bit. So they fit nicely into this container, and then they fit nicely in the fridge and the freezer when I have to stack them in. When it comes to meal prepping, and what I found that actually has helped me succeed is a lot of times when it comes to eating, you know, we're at work, we don't have time to really go anywhere. Sometimes we just go to the cafe in our building or someplace across the street, and it's fast, it's convenient. I'm all about convenience. If it's easy, it's fast, I'm there. However, that doesn't always mean that convenience is going to be healthy. So by having all my meals prepared and cooked, and I don't have to think about, you know, coming home and having to cook for the next day, but having everything cooked all at once, and all I have to do every morning is go to my fridge, pick out my meal, and go to work. It's convenient, it helps, and I'm more likely going to succeed eating the right foods throughout the day versus not having my foods. Like my trainers in the past always said, always be prepared for your day, always have something available for you, always have something you're supposed to eat for that day. That way you don't have an excuse to go out and buy something that's not healthy. So what I'll do is I will, you know, go to the grocery store on that Sunday and get all my meats, and typically look for different sales on the meats. A lot of times you can find, you know, chicken on sale. Just recently at Ralph's, they had a family pack of chicken breasts for only $5, and there was about 6 pieces inside of it. So I bought quite a few of those, and that definitely helped save on my budget. Once I buy all the meat, I come home, I have all my grocery bags. The first thing that I do is I marinate my meat, I put it in the fridge. That way when I'm getting everything else ready, it's marinating. I'm, you know, saving time because I'm multitasking. So I marinate my meat first, put it all in the refrigerator. The next thing I do is I throw in, you know, if I'm going to do rice during that week, I'll go ahead and put the rice into the rice cooker. I'll go ahead and start steaming my vegetables. And then I'll also start cutting up all the different pieces that I'm going to cook with, so that way I am prepared to start cooking the meat. When it comes to cooking the meat, I actually have this George Foreman outdoor-indoor grill, which looks like a huge barbecue pit, and I found it online. There are several places online that you can find it. If you just do a Google search for George Foreman outdoor-indoor grill, the lowest place that I found it was through Walmart. However, looking at the site, because I wanted it immediately, they didn't have it in the actual store. It had to actually be ordered, and it took about a few days for it to arrive. But it was about $79.99. A lot of places sell it between $80 to $100, but it's a really good investment. My current trainer told me about it and told me how much, you know, time it saves, because it's such a huge space to cook your meat. I can fit about 6 chicken breasts and 3 large steaks all at once. And what's really nice, of course, because it's a George Foreman grill, it has the little drain for, you know, any kind of greases or fat that fall in there. And what I really like about it is that you can actually take the whole grill. It's like a grill plate, and you can actually take it off and you can wash it. So it's not bolted to anything. It's very easy to clean. And of course it's non-stick, so everything just comes right off with just, you know, a nice rub on it. The other thing that I do to make sure that I'm going to be prepping properly or healthy is getting the right oil. I used to think that cooking with olive oil was healthy, and some of you may know and some of you may not know, but cooking with olive oil actually is not that healthy. Olive oil is a really good fat to use, but when you heat it up, it kind of just takes away all the nutrients that it's supposed to give you. So an alternative when you're cooking, something that I used, there's 2 things that I use. I'll use coconut oil, and it's like a lard almost in a sense. And the coconut oil, I'll use this one if I'm going to use a frying pan to make something. Usually if it's ground beef, I'll put it in the frying pan. It's, unflavored, doesn't taste like coconut oil. When I cook with the dough, it does give me, it kind of smells like, if you ever remember those popcorn machines, they would sell like at the school whenever they're having something. But that smell that it gave off, it kind of reminds me of that. So it's not a horrible smell. I actually like that smell. But because I used the grill, I actually found a coconut oil spray. This one costs a little bit more, but I don't really have to use that much, and it sprays evenly on my grill, so that way I'm not using too much. This one's kind of hard to use on the grill just because I got to spoon it out and then rub it against the grill itself. So having all the right things that you need to prep is really going to help you succeed. Now what I do is I'll use my table, put all the Tupperware out, and because my meat is still marinating while I'm cooking my vegetables and I'm cooking my carbs, I'll go ahead and get a measuring cup and start measuring out my portions. So when I cook my carbs and I cook my vegetables, I'm cooking in bulk. So I'm getting the biggest pot and pan that I have, I'm cooking everything there, and then I am using a measuring cup and I'm measuring and scooping and putting them into these containers. And then the last thing I have to do is put the meat on the grill once the meat is done, and then I just place them into my containers. Now what I do to keep the food good is I put them all in the freezer. And like I said, these are really small containers and they fit nicely into the freezer. And so I put them all in the freezer, and then for what I'm going to eat the next day, I put it in the fridge so that way it's nice and thawed out, and then when I have to warm it up, it tastes really good. So those are some of the things that I do. Now the next part of this video is going to go more into detail on the food that we're going to eat. Alright, when it comes to the food, there are many things that I'm going to go over here, and when it comes to the food, I'm giving you an example of what my meals are for the day. Hopefully you can kind of get the foundation of how I eat, and you can kind of mix in what you like so that way it kind of fits your lifestyle. Now food plays a huge role in your weight loss, and no matter how much you work out, it's all about what you eat. And I always use the excuse where I'm gonna eat this hamburger with chili cheese fries because I'm gonna work out extra hard tomorrow. And I would do that often, and I found, of course, that I just maintained my weight instead of trying to get to my goal. So I've learned, these different eating habits and different meal plans from past trainers, so I didn't come up with this myself. I just, pretty much stuck to what they gave me. And in the beginning, I did not follow any meal plans in my journey, and it took a while to see any kind of results. And I would, constantly fight with my trainers about what I would eat, and, I always had it in my mind that it doesn't matter what I eat, because I'm working out like 6 to 7 times a day, I'm gonna still lose weight. And I found out the hard way that really didn't work for me. And everybody's different. Everybody has a different body, and what you eat can affect you differently. So this is more about what I went through and what I experienced, and hopefully you can get some ideas, and hopefully if you try out this plan and stick to it and give me some feedback and let me know if you've lost any weight, that would be great. I would feel like I've helped somebody out that's looking to lose some pounds. Now I would say 90% of the time I will follow this exactly the way I'm supposed to. I am increasing that percentage week by week. My struggle isn't so much Monday through Friday. My struggle is Saturday and Sunday, which I'll give you some ideas that could possibly help you out. Nobody's perfect. We all struggle. We all fall into this, different cravings. Just like earlier today, I wanted a cheeseburger. But, it's about altering your life to this new, eating habit. You don't want to look at it as a diet. You want to look at it as a lifestyle. And, you want to set yourself up to succeed, and don't give yourself reasons to fail, because, nobody likes to fail. And then we lose our motivation, and then we just give up. And hopefully, if you see that you lose weight doing this, this will keep you going on your journey, and hopefully you will push stronger. So just to give you an idea of what my day is like when it comes to food, and some of these examples that I give you, you don't have to eat it at the times that I'm mentioning when I eat it. That's what's really nice about this plan, is you can kind of mix and match. I'm all about convenience and what's the easiest. So my meal plan is pretty much the same every day, and sometimes I'll change up a carb. But I'm content with it because, again, for me it's convenience, and that really helps. So obviously you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours, maybe less, maybe more, but when you're sleeping your body is not eating, so it's hungry when you wake up. So my first meal is as soon as I wake up. And my first meal of the day is going to be a protein shake. And you can buy pre-mixed protein shakes. A lot of them have too much sugar, too much carbs, too much calories. So I like to just make my protein shakes myself, and I kind of know, what's going into it. So I use a protein powder. One of my favorite brands is the Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard. It's 100% whey. And it has really low on sugars. It's about 1 gram of sugars and 3 grams of carbohydrates, and this is for 1 scoop, so I do about 1.5 scoops. And this flavor is strawberry shake. I'm not really much of a chocolate person, but strawberry shake doesn't really taste like strawberry shake, but it doesn't taste horrible, so I add my own stuff into the protein shake. Obviously it'll be great if you can just drink it with water. If you're like me and don't like just mixing it with water, what you can use as an alternative is you can use almond milk. And almond milk, they have chocolate, they have vanilla, and then they have the unsweetened, unflavored. I go for the unsweetened, unflavored. It's only 30 calories. There's no really sugar in it, so I use that in my protein shake. But I also want to flavor it up with a banana and about 3 strawberries. Now, something that I also use often throughout my meals is flax seeds. So I go ahead and put in a spoonful of flax seeds into it, some cinnamon, and then some of you might be taking supplements. There are some supplements that don't taste that great that are powdered. For example, I take glutamine, and I also take creatine, which is powder. And typically, I would just get the scoop, put it in my mouth, drink some water, and it always wasn't very tasteful. So because it's unflavored, which still has a little bit of flavor, I'll throw it into my protein shake in the morning. That way I get that out of the way, and I have my protein shake. So once I have my protein shake, I have to, and that's the other thing, you have to eat within 2 to 3 hours throughout the day, which may sound like a lot of food, but everything's measured, it's portioned. Your body is knowing that you're eating the right thing, so it's okay that you're eating 2 to 3 hours a day. So once I do that, I have my shake. It's going to be time for breakfast within 2 to 3 hours, because remember, I'm taking the shake as soon as I wake up. And for my breakfast doesn't have to be eggs, but if you want to stick to a breakfast plan, I do between 4 to 7 egg whites, and I actually go through the whole process of cracking the egg, taking the yolk out. Before, I would do just a hard-boiled egg, and it was easy in the beginning to eat 4 to 7 hard-boiled eggs, but then I started, gagging after, eating them so often. So a friend of mine suggested doing something creative, which is make egg white muffins. And so that's kind of when I mentioned the muffin pan earlier with you today. So what I'll do is I'll mix the egg white. Once I get the 4 to 7 egg whites, I'll just whisk them in a bowl, and I'll pour small portions into the cupcake pan. And to give it more flavor, the other thing that I would do is I'll chop up some bell peppers, some green onions, some mushrooms, and I will, saute them with the coconut oil. And then I'll get a spoon and put them into the muffin pan. So it makes, a few muffins. And what I'll do is, because, I make them prior to my breakfast time, is I'll freeze them just like I freeze all my other food. Now, when I reheat them, though, the trick is I put them inside of paper towels and put them into the microwave, and it keeps them nice and moist and fluffy, and they actually don't taste that bad. Sometimes if I want to up my protein, because maybe I didn't do 7 egg whites and I did 4 egg whites, I'll find some lean ground beef. Trader Joe's has 98% lean ground beef, so I'll put some of that into my muffins to give it some kind of crunch. And if it's like a cheat day, like on a weekend, the cheat is really not a cheat, because what I'll do in that case is I'll add really small diced potatoes into it, so that would be my cheat. And maybe spray some I can't believe it's not butter on top of it. So that's just an example of what I'll do like on the weekend as my cheat, or put turkey bacon inside of it. Now with my eggs, I'm going to also have 4 ounces of oatmeal, and I use the old-fashioned oatmeal versus the instant oatmeal. And in my oatmeal, it's just with the water. I also use cinnamon, and then I put flaxseed. I put a spoon of flaxseed in that, and I have I'm cutting down on sugar. So again, sugar is something that it's hard to cut down on. So I use 1 packet of the raw sugar, and not too much, and I kind of got used to it, so I do that. I also have a cup of coffee, and in my coffee I have absolutely no sugar in it. It's a little bit of half and half, and it's all coffee. In the beginning it was kind of hard to drink it, but now it's like normal. So I like coffee, even though I don't have sugar in it or those sugary creamers in it. I'm okay with it. It tastes fine. Now what you can do is you can get some MCT oil. You can look it up online. This is one of the suggestions my trainer gave me, is if you mix some MCT oil in it, kind of helps loosen the fat in your system. So I've been doing that as well. So again, just to recap, I know I'm kind of babbling on here. Protein shake first thing in the morning, 2 to 3 hours, and I have my 4 to 7 egg whites. You can have them any way you want them, as long as they're egg whites. And then I have my oatmeal, which is 4 ounces dry. And then I have my cinnamon with it, and a stevia raw sugar, just 1 packet. And then I'll have my coffee with no sugar and just a little bit of half and half cream. Now 2 to 3 hours from then, I'm done with my workout. So I don't actually have lunch then. I have kind of like just a can of tuna fish and a green apple, and I use almond butter or peanut butter. They actually have peanut butter with flax seeds in it as well. So I'll use a tablespoon of that. Now with the tuna fish, I was just eating it straight out of the can, got used to it, then I got bored of it. So now I'm actually using egg whites. I boiled the egg, cut them up, put them into the tuna, I put some pickles in it, and then I put some mustard, mix it up. It's kind of really helped a lot with the flavoring, of course. So I do that every day after my breakfast. And then my lunch is going to be, again, 2 to 3 hours after I have my tuna. My lunch is going to be a protein, a carb, and a veggie. So my protein is going to be between 6 to 8 ounces. What I've done is I bought a food scale so I can measure it. After you kind of get an idea of visually looking at what 6 to 8 ounces looks like, then you can stop using the food scale. So my meat is typically a chicken breast. And then what I do is, I marinate it, like I said, in the prep, so that way it's nice and flavorful. My carb is going to either be a rice or it's going to be a pasta. I love pasta. I love rice. I don't like brown rice, so a substitute that I use is Basmati rice, and I use 4 ounces uncooked, and then 4 ounces cooked. And so I use my rice cooker, get the measuring cup out for my rice. Same thing with the pasta. There's a pasta that Barilla makes. It's called Protein Plus. They have different types of pasta. They have like the spiral, the penne, the macaroni type. It has about 10 grams of protein and only about 2 grams of sugar, and that's for 2 ounces. So we're doing about 4 ounces. That's not bad. So I'm getting 20 grams of protein there and only about 4 grams of sugar. So I use this one. It's really good. So when it comes to veggies, of course, veggies are always good for you. I hate veggies. The only veggies that I like are broccoli. So I'll do 2 cups of broccoli. Sometimes if I'm feeling adventurous, I'll do asparagus. And so again, it just depends on what veggies you like. 2 cups of veggies goes along with your meal. 2 to 3 hours after that, it's kind of like a snack, so I'll do another protein shake, the same type of protein shake that I did first thing in the morning, except without the glutamine and the creatine. And then for dinner, it's just going to be my meat, which is 6 to 8 ounces, and it's probably going to be a steak meat, and 2 cups veggies. And I typically go to bed like around 9 o'clock, just because my day starts at 4 a.m. That's a whole different story that we can talk about another day. But if you wind up staying late and it's past the 2 to 3 hour mark, then it's okay to have another protein shake right before bed. So the guideline to follow, because you may not like the same foods that I like, is out of all those meals that you're eating throughout the day, you're going to have a protein in every single meal, and you're going to have between 6 to 8 ounces. That's going to vary on your body, what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. You can always do research on how much protein you need. You're also going to have a carb only twice a day, and you definitely want to have it in the daytime, in the morning. So your carb is at 4 ounces, and then you're going to have 2 cups of veggies throughout your meals as well. So you can mix and match them. You don't have to do eggs for breakfast. You can do a steak for breakfast if you want, or you can do steak and eggs, but you kind of want to follow that guideline. I'll kind of have an idea or my meal plan in the notes section of just a sample plan of what I use every day. Now just remember that you want to succeed in your weight loss, so you want to prepare, you want to take the steps. Don't set yourself up to fail by cheating. When it comes to weekends, if you're going to go eat out, you can always, modify what you're ordering at the restaurant or the fast food place. I mean, a lot of times they'll accommodate. I haven't run into any places that didn't accommodate. And sometimes just, taking baby steps, switching something out. Like I said, instead of having bacon, have turkey bacon. Or instead of having, a lot of cheese, do a little bit of cheese. The other thing to consider or to think about is, when it comes to cheat, it's a cheat meal, it's not a cheat day. And if you're going to do a cheat meal, it's better to do it in the morning versus the evening. So, one cheat meal on the weekend isn't horrible, but a cheat day might not get you to where you want to go. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know it's a little bit long. It's my first video, or a real video on YouTube here. So again, if you follow this plan, and like I said, when I follow this exactly the way I'm supposed to do it, I always see a reduction in my weight. So if you follow it, don't cheat, do it, it's going to work. Other things is I cut out all sodas. All I do is I drink water. I drink a gallon of water every single day with coffee. So that's all I drink. And if I'm going to go on the weekend and go out to eat, I'll do a tea with no sugar, like a green tea. So that also helps. And of course, I love bread and I cut bread out. And sometimes on rare occasions, I'll have a piece of bread. So again, if you follow this plan, I can't say it's going to be a guarantee to work, because like I said, everybody's different, but you can at least try it, see if it helps you. I'll be happy if this just gives you a starting point in your journey in trying to help you, transform or lose some pounds. And if you do follow it and you do lose some weight, I would love to hear back from you. You can post your questions or comments down below. I would love to see those as well. You can follow me on Instagram. milkshake_remixed. So I'll be posting another video pretty soon. Subscribe to my channel if you like these videos. I'll try to post them weekly, and hope you all have a great day. Stay strong, push hard with your workouts, and definitely, do really good with your eating. Thank you all.